Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Sands. Today, we're joined by the dynamic duo that has founded and runs Brewery Fire. But it's 1 year actually, right?
Yeah,
It's 1 year in operation. For some reason, I was about to say two. I was like, no, that's one. You guys are still babies.
Just the last year's felt really long. That's why.
Yeah, I think we've lived through 5 years since you opened, but it's been 1 year. So we're joined by Dave Palmer and Jesse Johnson. Say hi, Dave. No,
hey, what's going on, guys?
This is mainly an audio podcast, so like just waving doesn't do well.
Oh, well, there goes all my waving.
And Jesse, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So let's I had you guys on. I mean, you hadn't been open like maybe for a month, right? It was pretty early on.
It was. I think you had us on in November, I want to say, and we opened in September.
Yeah, it was real early days.
So let's just pretend like I never even talked to you. And well, like let's do the I want to do the regular story type stuff, and you can abbreviate it since you've been on and people may have heard it. But first, where did the name Brewery Fire come from? Because I actually did forget that.
That's a Jesse story. Tell your story, Jesse.
So before I was a brewer, I was in administration at a healthcare center, and I had to go into work a lot when people called out, and I had to find coverage. And one Sunday, I had to go into work, and I remember texting Dave on the way there, being like, "Man, this really sucks. Like, I'm so tired of going out on the weekends." And he's like, "Man, don't worry. We'll get you out of there." And I was like, it doesn't matter. It'll only fuel my brewery fire. And at that point in time, we didn't have a name. And Dave's like, "That's it. Brewery Fire. That's what we're going to call ourselves." So that's kind of where the name came from.
I don't know how I forgot that, because it's a cool story.
So it's a lot cooler than what people assume.
And probably any of the dumb ideas that floated through my head.
It's all right. If we remember the first interview, as long as you speak it confidently, you're not afraid of being wrong. So
that is true. If you say something with enough gusto, it becomes fact. And I think we've lived through a lot of that lately too. How did you guys meet? Like where did you get to the point where you decided you were going to open a brewery together?
I can cover how we met. So my brother-in-law would do like an annual fundraising dinner for a local women's shelter, and I went to that with my girlfriend at the time, who I hadn't yet married into that family, and Jesse was there with you were probably married to Kim at that point, so he was there with his wife. And he was the only dude there who also had tattoos and also listened to metal and also played video games. So we just kind of bonded a little bit then and there.
You were drawn to each other? Yeah,
we're like, oh, hey, someone I identify with. Cool. And I was a home brewer then. I think, Jesse, you either...
No, I hadn't started at that point.
Okay, yeah. So I was probably 1 or 2 years into home brewing at that point, still really early into it. As for... how we decided to start a brewery, well, that jerk texted me 3.5 years ago and was like, "Hey, let's start a brewery." And I thought that was a great idea. And more fool me for listening to him. Now we own a brewery and we never sleep and all that fun stuff.
Well, from what I understand though, once you open a brewery though, the need for sleep just goes away. So I'm sure you're fine.
That's what I hear too. Yeah. I've yet to prove it, but I've heard it.
And also, I mean, it sounds like it was your fault anyway. If you were the one that got into home brewing first, you were probably the bad influence on Jesse.
I definitely did have some influence. Yeah, we'd homebrewed together a few times. And I think when our paths crossed as homebrewers, I was doing half barrel batches, and Jesse was probably maybe doing 1 gallon batches. So our experience
I did 1 gallon batches on the stovetop till we opened.
Yeah. So Jesse was the 1 gallon home brewer, and I was the all grain half barrel. And by the time we actually partnered, I'd upscaled to a 1 barrel system just on my deck, and we kind of took it and ran with it, and well, here we are.
That is so much beer to make at home.
It's a stupid amount of beer to make at home.
How do you even drink that much beer?
I hosted a lot of game nights and stuff, so I would have friends over to do board games or Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff or whatever, and we would just hang out in the basement and drink. I threw really good bonfires and cookouts. I found a way to get rid of it. So
that's in the brief time frame when I homebrewed, and I think that's what made it easier for me too, is that it was a time before anyone in my group of friends had kids. So every weekend we would sit and watch football games college all day Saturday, and then most of Sunday accomplishing just enough that our wives wouldn't get furious with us, and then we would spend the rest of the time just drinking. Right now, I couldn't even have a kegerator. I wouldn't go through enough beer.
No, I drink very little beer at home anymore. Whiskey, on the other hand, that I keep in stock at home. But
that looks like what Jesse's sipping on over there now too is some whiskey.
It does look like that, and I'm a little jealous because.
What do you have?
I have it's called Templeton Rye, the good stuff. I think we bought it at the Perfect Pour. I had Sam buy it for me on a run.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
I'll probably just stick with beer tonight.
Well, I brought beer home today so I could shamelessly self-promote during our podcast.
Well, I mean, that's 90% of why you're here, right? You don't want to talk to me.
I have beer too. And whiskey.
So you don't plan on accomplishing anything tomorrow?
No, I have a lot to do tomorrow. Not tonight.
So last week, we talked the Full Tilt guys were on. We talked for probably close to 2 hours. It was a little over 2 hours, and that was a 4 or 5 beer night. I'm hoping to avoid that tonight. So
I only brought home 2. So.
Okay. and I have, which I was telling you before, I cracked the Auto Hops Rollout, and
nice.
I'm really enjoying that. This is good. Unfortunately, the rest of the beer I have from you guys, I forgot in my office. So I will only be drinking one of your beers tonight. But I have a shameless
self. I'll double it for you.
But then I'll have to open it Jams just because it has my name on it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Everyone else has already poured a beverage, so I will pour one as well.
So where are you guys located?
Tonytown,
we are
Maryland.
So we're west of Westminster. We're 20 minutes south of Gettysburg. We're half an hour outside of Frederick. So we're in the general Frederick, Westminster, Gettysburg triangle. I guess you would find us.
You're kind of in a brewery desert until you opened, right? Although I guess no, Pub Dog isn't too far away from you, right?
No, Pub Dog's probably 20 minutes from us.
Okay,
maybe 15 on a good day. And then after us, Flood Zone opened, and they're 15 minutes or so from us. Much closer as the crow flies, but it's all country roads between us.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that being the only brewery there helps you, or does it hurt being the only one?
I'd say it. I mean, we definitely noticed the success of beer tourism when 1623 and Flood Zone opened at first. However, both of those guys were only open 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Excuse me, before the full effect of the shutdown happened. So, I mean, I'd say for 2 to 4 weeks, it was pretty awesome because we had a ton of people coming in and out, just, doing beer tourism in the county. And it was really cool to see that, the theory works even in Carroll County. And that, since then COVID's happened and it's been odd times.
Yeah, for sure.
How has actually this will be a good transition. We'll take a real quick sponsor break, and then let's talk about how it has been to operate for you guys, because at least you have a really nice outdoor area. So I imagine that's been a lifesaver for you. So we can get into that a little bit, and we will be right back.
If you haven't heard about our beer dinners, well, now you have. Typically, the last Tuesday of each month, we partner with a local brewery and craft an exclusive 5-course dinner. Each course is thoughtfully paired with some of the finest craft beer available. You'll meet the brewery, enjoy memorable pairings and service, and have a damn good time. Like us on Facebook to stay in the know when tickets become available, because they will sell out quick.
Idiom Brewing Company proudly offers delicious variety of beers to satisfy the most discerning taste. Best known for their wide array of IPAs, delicious fruited sours, and robust porters and stouts, Idiom Brewing Company offers a delicious variety. Idiom Brewing Company proudly offers a delicious variety of beers to satisfy the most discerning taste. Best known for their wide array of IPAs, delicious fruited sours, and robust porters and stouts, Idiom prides themselves on continuing to innovate, utilizing new and experimental hops, local ingredients, and unique flavor profiles. Idiom has a simple goal in mind: to bring people from all walks of life together to enjoy themselves and each other. Idiom Brewing Company is located in downtown Frederick, just south of the intersection of East Street and East Patrick Street, with ample seating and directly on Carroll Creek. So you guys you had, 6 months or so?
A little shy. I think we maybe had 5. It was not a ton of time.
Less than ideal.
Yeah, and the slow months.
Oh yeah, that's true too. You didn't even.
Yeah, we really didn't fully open until October. I mean, we kind of, soft opened in September, but, we were only doing 2 days a week and, really making sure we didn't run out of product because we had no idea what our reception was going to be like. And we didn't want to be the guys that shut down because we ran out of beer.
Yeah.
So we kind of eased into 3 days a week and then 4, which we maintained up till COVID. And then, for summer we did 7 days a week. But now we're down to 5.
Okay.
We're Wednesday through Sunday now, but yeah, it it's not what you want for your first year. You'd like to have your first busy season actually happen.
Yeah.
That's where you're supposed to make 75% of your money for the year. So
Well, I mean, I guess on a very tiny bright side is you've had this time to, as long as you're like any new brewery that had the misfortune of opening during would be even worse, or right before that, if you make it through this time, you've had that time to like kind of build your brand to come out strong whenever people will start coming back in more of a mass crowd.
Yeah, for sure. And not just build our brand, but I mean, we like a lot of the other small guys, like we didn't start off hiring a professional brewer. I mean, we were home brewers who transitioned into the industry, and there's a big learning curve there. And really making high quality beer is a skill and an art. And Jesse's brews that he's making today are, light years ahead of where they were even a year ago. So, having that year for him to grow his skills has been amazing.
I remember, if I remember correctly, like your beer was, I think I remember being surprised at how good your beer was. Did I don't know if I'd have to, if I was responsible and good at this, I probably would have listened to our previous interview before talking to you again.
It's okay. I didn't either.
But we all know this is amateur hour, and but I think
well, then we feel right at home.
Yeah, I think that I remember you guys being one of the breweries that I was surprised. Not that I thought you guys and like specifically wouldn't have good beer, but
right,
like you came out of the gate.
New breweries in general,
like there's usually, because I had your beer pretty early on, and a lot of times it's not good. But I would say like this auto hops roll out, it's a very refined, good tasting hoppy pale ale. I mean, you nailed it on this one. This is really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a little leeway to speak about it since Jesse does 95% of the brewing, maybe 98% at this point. And I've just, noticed the difference. But I mean, I think we came out of the gate with pretty decent beer. I don't think we put anything out there that I'm ashamed of. We also were sticklers and, dumped beers that we were worried about. But I mean, we fortunately, in the year that we've been in operation, haven't dumped a ton, like maybe a half dozen, like not a ton of batches. But I also, as an outsider, can see Jesse's growth as a brewer and, be impressed by it.
So how long ago did you start canning? It's fairly recent, right?
July.
Yeah,
July.
It should have been sooner. We ordered our canning system in March, and it took 81 days from when we put the money down to when we received our canning system. Someone screwed the pooch. We bought from a manufacturer in Canada, and someone
and
So,
you froze up there for a little bit. So we got to someone from Canada did something, but we don't know what they did.
Yeah, we don't know either.
Okay.
But the end result was that our system sat at the border. And what was supposed to be, what did they say, Jesse? Like 7 days shipping from point to point?
Yeah, something like that.
Wound up being, I want to say 60 plus, because there's obviously the manufacturing time.
Yeah.
But
wow.
yeah, 60 plus days to ship.
They really didn't do a good job at that estimation.
No. It got stuck in Ohio for a while.
It did get stuck in Ohio. Then there was like, they dropped the ball on needing a lift gate because we don't have a loading dock. So like they didn't even know they needed a lift gate. And yeah, all of it was in the paperwork, but someone somewhere didn't do their job.
So I was at Old Mother when their alpha system was being delivered, and they don't have a dock, and the truck didn't have a lift gate. So it was kind of an adventure to get that line off of the trailer using a forklift.
Yeah. We don't even have a forklift. we have sturdily built friends. So we had what did we have? Like 5 dudes hanging around waiting for the truck to show up or something like that. It was ridiculous. But yeah, we unboxed the thing and figured it out and started canning probably within a week or so of receiving it, and have been canning since late June, early July. And we've done 16 batches so far, I think. And again, we haven't grown as a brewery yet. We're still 3-barrel. Yeah. So we're getting, if we don't keg at all, we get somewhere in the order of 23, 24 cases. And if we keg some of it, then 15. and but cases of 16-ounce cans, obviously.
How big of an impact did that have on your business model to be able to start canning?
I imagine it single-handedly saved us.
Okay.
The margins aren't great for distribution, especially when you're small. But we don't pay a distributor; we self-distribute, and it's enough. But as I'm sure you saw with the guys in Frederick, like Old Mother and others that started small, like the tap room is where you make your money.
Yeah,
and
it's infinitely more profitable than packaging, unfortunately, for now.
And we, for months, didn't have a tap room, and then even once we did, between occupancy limitations and people not being comfortable going out, we're doing. What did we determine, Jesse? Like 50 or 60% of our revenues in packaged beer right now?
Yeah, I think
it was something like that. And for a brewery our size, that should not be.
Did a lot of people come in to get crowlers, or is there still just people? Because I almost think of like a crowler is maybe not something you go specifically to get all the time. That it's more of like you're at a brewery having a pint or two, and then you decide to take a crowler home. Like going to pick up 4-packs seems like more of a natural thing to do, at least in my weird twisted head. Is that?
Yeah. You're right. I mean, during the shutdown, we survived off of crowlers. I think a lot of people did too. But the 4-packs have definitely made it a lot more accessible for people just to come in, do an online order, drive by, grab a beer, get a 4-pack, and head on out. So for us, that's been the greatest thing, is just having that ease of access of the product for the consumers.
Yeah. I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just to piggyback on that, our crowler sales the first month of the shutdown were absolutely phenomenal. Everyone came out of the woodwork and wanted to support us. It was like a dream come true. We were like, oh man, we got this. We're doing great. Our numbers are actually shockingly close to what our tap room was before the shutdown. But like anything, when it drags on longer than you expect, the enthusiasm or the ability or whatever starts dying off. And then, when you couple that with our canning line being as delayed as it was, we had, a month and a half or so that was a little terrifying.
Yeah.
So.
What was interesting, we definitely noticed when people were allowed to go back to work. It was like you could see in our sales figures a drop once people actually couldn't day drink anymore.
I was just going to say, I think what you basically just said is that the fans of the brewery were drinking while they were supposed to be working.
We won't name names.
No,
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was an article in the FMB we had where FCPS had issued a warning out, or maybe a warning's strongly worded of it, but something about like there being a problem with parents being in the background, seen drinking and doing things while kids are supposed to be virtually learning.
Yeah. That's great. Wow.
So I guess it's just a normal thing now.
I think it is.
I guess. You like, as I'm sure once you're in this industry, all taboos surrounding alcohol kind of go away.
Yeah, it's just water at that point.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's just a drink.
All right, we're gonna take one more quick sponsor break, and then I have a couple other questions about the effects of starting the can have had on your business. All right, we will be right back. There are many reasons why I have chosen District East for where I purchase beer. I love the flexibility of being able to make a custom six-pack or take home a crowler from one of the 8 beers on tap. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff do an amazing job at keeping a diverse selection on hand. You can even purchase artwork from the monthly featured artist. District East is located on Northeast Street in Frederick in the same shopping center as Family Mill and Rockwell Brewery. You can find today's beer lists on the District East Facebook page or at www.districteast.beer. I'm excited to announce our newest sponsor, Vanish Farmwoods Brewery. Vanish is a brewery and entertainment complex located on a 62-acre hops and apple farm in Luckett's, Virginia, just 20 minutes from Frederick, Maryland and Leesburg, Virginia. With over 20 beers on tap, a selection of wines and ciders, along with multiple food options, there is something for everyone. Vanish has live music on Saturdays and Sundays and a wide variety of special events. Go to vanishbeer.com for information on everything they have to offer. So, do you think that having packaged product out there outside of just crowlers, but in 16-ounce cans, has gotten your name out there a lot more than previously? Like, have you seen any? Because the evidence the evidence I was going to submit is that I think it's at least 2 other people have sent me text messages asking who the hell these Brewery Fire guys are. They've been seeing them mentioned constantly lately.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Jesse, you go.
We're in a couple different stores throughout the state. I mean, I think we're actively in 4 to 6 at a time right now because we are so small. And Dave's allowed on beer media, and I'm not because Dave doesn't take it so personal. But Dave's doing a really great job of being on a few forums and Facebook groups, really promoting the product. And we've really gotten like people traveling up north to different breweries, stopping by because they otherwise would have never heard of us. And they're like, man, like, who are you guys? Like, we're kind of like in bum what nowhere. And so, they'll make the stop. They're like, man, this beer's really good. Like, I've never heard about you guys. So, for us to be in more populated areas like the Baltimore area, Frederick, it's been really helpful for us to get our name out there.
What were you going to say, Dave?
I was very similarly, just wanted to particularly shout out Chris at Perfect Pour, Rob at Whitey's, and I'm having a brain fart on District East.
Ken.
If someone could help.
Ken.
Ken.
Yeah. So those 3 accounts in particular have been just phenomenal for us. I mean, they're where,
District East,
of course, and they're where people in those.
We lost Dave there.
Jesse, why did we let him participate with his crappy
right? Because now I keep dropping out. It's wonderful. Only happens to me.
This has been great.
Yeah, but yeah. So just those accounts have been phenomenal for us, and as Jesse said, I'm the one allowed on social media for beer. So like the Facebook groups like Maryland Beer Drinkers Club and stuff like that. Just engaging with the customer where they are. And trying to raise the brand's awareness without being too much of an attention whore, because it's a fine line to walk. You don't want to spam that group. You want to let them have their organic moments, but just engaging the customer when they talk about your beer, whether it's positive or negative, and just giving them a chance to have a voice about your product and respond to it, and just let people know, like, hey, yeah, we're this tiny little brewery, but I think we're doing some pretty phenomenal things right now, and I think if you give us a shot, you might agree.
Have you noticed your mentions on Instagram and Facebook increasing since you had canned product?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like the silver lining for the horrible storm cloud that has been COVID. Because never in a million years would our little 3-barrel brewery have canned. ever.
Until you were forced to.
Until you're forced to, exactly. And it's like, well, we refuse to fail, so let's make less money, but let's at least get the product out there. And it's not been a glamorous 6 months, but it's been a survivable 6 months, and our brand awareness in the community is 100 times what it was. I mean, we often refer to ourselves as the Bad News Bears Brewery of Carroll County. Like, we're the guys that started with no funding, no nothing. Like, we just, scrapped our way through everything. And, we're not geniuses. We're not marketing guys. We don't know what we're doing. And we're just trying to make good beer and sell it to people. And, pivoting to canning and out of necessity, while it hurts in the short term, I think it's going to pay dividends once life gets back to normal.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And I think what's really going to pay off is, I think, what we were just talking about is your brand awareness seems to have just gone through the absolute roof. That I think it has a lot to, like, several of your cans are cool looking. They have cool names, so people take pictures of them and post them online, and then people start asking people, who are these Brewery Fire guys that I keep seeing beer from?
Yeah, and we get a lot of comments about our names and our art, and we take a lot of joy in that because Jesse and I are giant nerds. We're unashamedly giant nerds.
I didn't notice that.
And for every 10 people that compliment us for it, there's one that it's like, oh, these guys are pandering and yada, yada, yada. It's like, man, hang out with us. You'll see that we're the biggest dorks you've ever met. Like, we're not naming stuff to try to attract nerds. We're naming stuff because we are nerds.
We live the lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole point of having beer is it's a social event, no matter how you boil it down, where you're sitting and having community with people. And so, when you take a liquid and make it this serious thing, it's kind of silly because you're just going to drink it and later on with it. So for us, it's you're making a beverage that, we think is really good, but, to put a story behind it and for people just to sit down and have fun, because, that's the whole point of going to get a drink, is to sit down and, typically to kind of forget the worries of the world and engage with the people that, you love spending time with. So for us, making a cool name isn't trying to, make $1 million. It's to hopefully give people that experience that we want them to have.
Now, I do trust that you'll be releasing Mangolorian again next month, right?
It's funny.
We're trying to beat the premiere deadline. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on the schedule for next week.
That would be almost criminal if you didn't.
It would be a misfire of epic proportions if we did not do that.
I mean,
it would not be the way.
Yeah. One, it was a really, really good beer. And then, as Jesse says, this is the way.
Well, the funny thing with that beer, the beer that I made that was the base of that was called Phoenix Down. And I was going to call it Phoenix with Mango. And then we had a customer come in one night and he heard it, he heard us talking about the beer. He's like, man, you should call that the Mangolorian. And we're like, why didn't we think of that? So
no offense, but he is way smarter than you with naming beers.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah. And he gave away the name for a free pour.
Nice.
Yeah. So. And the best part is that we said, yeah, when it's ready, come in and get it, because he works night shift. And
oh gosh, I forgot this.
He didn't have time, and he has a family, so he basically was trying to get in, get his beer, and leave. And the staff member we had charged him for it.
Yeah, sure, you came up with the name.
Yeah. So I think the next time
did, buddy.
Two.
Yeah, but we took care of him. But
funny.
Yeah.
I assume you'll be canning that one also.
Oh yeah. Yeah, doing similar art to the poster and all that. Yeah.
Good, because I have perfect glassware to photograph that with.
Excellent. Well, a 4-pack will find its way to you somehow.
And that was just a great beer. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it as well.
One of the few times I ventured all the way to Carroll County.
It was also the first time we ever got a 1-star Google review.
Yeah.
I think
it was my fault.
I feel like you told me about that, but I don't. You should tell that story.
So no, it's 100% my fault. So it was the same day as Flood Zone's grand opening. So we had a brewery 15 minutes away that just opened, and we got a lot of overflow from that. We were standing room only. We had not installed our dishwasher yet, so to support the bar staff, I had been hand washing dishes for 45 minutes to an hour at this point. And this young lady it was her first time there, she comes up with her glass of Mangalorean and she goes, "I don't particularly love this. Can I have something else?" And I was so flabbergasted by that exchange. I just went, no. You can try anything before you buy it. And, more fool me. I should have just been like, yeah, sure. But then her boyfriend, his brother, and all these people just spam us 1-star reviews. I'm like, oh, come on, man. And included in the 1-star reviews was not enough seating. I'm like, I can't control that.
Now we don't let Dave work behind the bar anymore.
No, I don't bartend. Jesse doesn't bartend. We let the staff bartend because they're good at it.
Yeah. Keep the sensitive guys out from behind the bar.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's the only bad review. Or at least only one.
The only bad Google review. Uncapped is another story.
Yeah, I mean,
Uncapped is another story. We don't have time for that.
No.
I've been personally criticized on an Untapped review, so you're probably winning from that aspect at least.
I've heard the criticism. We've exchanged that story, and I know for a fact there are 2 proofs that person is wrong.
Yeah. So how do you go about having an anniversary celebration during the after what are we calling now? Just the horrible times.
Hell if I know, man.
Wasteland.
Yeah. I mean, we're socially distanced. We've got roughly 50 seats outside, 6 feet apart. We've got about half that inside, 6 feet apart. We were given a temporary outdoor space by the liquor board so we can expand beyond what we've got.
Oh, that's good.
So we're working with that. Like that. Yeah. So we're just complying by all ordinances and laws and trying to make a fun time, primarily outdoors. It's really good weather right now. So, we put a lot of time and effort and money into the beer garden this week to make it even better. So,
yeah, at least in my opinion, this is the absolute perfect drinking beer outside weather.
Agreed.
And if you throw in a fire, then it's just glorious. So if you're allowed to have a fire pit, you should do that. Although it probably doesn't mix well. But
we did receive an awesome gift of a one of those outdoor heaters that has like the tornado fire inside.
Oh, nice.
So
I mean, it's fun to watch too.
Yeah. It's still hypnotic enough.
Yeah, it'll work.
So we're hoping this weekend that between the outdoor seating and the space that the liquor board gave us, so if you want to come and bring their own chair, they can stand out there. If they, obviously it's social distancing, and all that. But we've got plenty of room. I mean, we're small, but for what people need, we have.
Yeah, your outdoor area is nice.
Well, thanks, and we made it a lot nicer this week, so I'm really happy with that. Also, we canned 5 release beers for the anniversary, so we're hoping that the can drops for the people that don't want to hang out will be a good draw as well.
What do you have coming out for that?
Well, it's kind of an interesting caveat into following beer culture. So we have 2 sours. We have an Imperial Stout. We have a New England IPA. And then we have another one of our brut IPAs with very fruit-forward hops. So it's 4 brand new beers and the return of an Imperial Stout that we opened with. So we've got our Fruited Sour series is called Participation Trophy, which is a joke Jesse and I tell each other about having to make a style that we've never been particular fans of, but
blasphemy.
Yeah. And
Sorry, Chris.
then our New England IPA series that we've been doing, we did Short Dead Dude. For the anniversary, we've got a variant called Cowabunga Dude. It's a very similar beverage, just Galaxy hops instead of the Mosaic and Amarillo that are in Short Dead Dude. Full of a Took, which is an Imperial Stout based on the aroma of pipe tobacco. We opened with that beer, but didn't have quite as much of it as we have this year, so we're excited to have it on tap and in cans. And then if you had, did Jesse bring you Juicy Brute?
Yes, I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, so we have its cousin, which is Brute Stripe. So it's another bubblegum pun, and it's a cousin to Juicy Brute, just Juicy Brute with single hop, and this has 5 different hops. So, yeah. And then we've got a couple other draft releases that are draft only. But
I think, didn't you guys make that Instagram account, Intellectual Pooperty, for Juicy Brute?
No, what? Is that a thing?
I need to look.
We did not make any fake Instagram accounts, so now I'm very curious.
No. There's an Instagram account that just posts beer from breweries that they think it's stealing intellectual property.
Oh gosh, that's like all of ours.
Although, half the time, maybe not quite half, but a bunch of times they're completely wrong, where it's clearly would fit into what's allowable.
Creative Commons and parody.
Yeah. Now they do have plenty of stuff that is straight rip off intellectual property theft. Oh no,
Sure.
You weren't on there. I could have sworn I saw.
We'll try harder.
Yeah. I'll that's one of the beers I have at my office to photograph, so maybe I'll just tag them when I
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm all right making that blog. It's a worst beer blog that I want to avoid for the rest of our existence.
Yeah, it's never that's why I love I reached out to him asking and seeing if he would come on to Uncapped. I haven't heard back from him yet. I think he'd be a really good interview.
That would be really interesting.
That'd be awesome.
No, I guess so. You weren't on it. Have you received any cease and desists yet?
No.
Because you guys do.
No.
I feel like you never go like completely overboard, but you definitely tiptoe that line.
I think we had one that, in retrospect, I would have done differently, which was our Star Trek themed one, Son of Moog. While I redrew the Star Trek symbol for the Klingon Empire, it was probably too close to a potentially trademarked image, but hindsight's 2020. I mean,
we're a 3-barrel brewery in the middle of nowhere,
right?
Well, I think the problem comes where a lot of them are seen by people posting the photo and then tagging whatever the inspiration for it is.
And that was easily the closest to viral we ever got. I think our photo of that was like 30,000 views or something like that, which for a tiny 3-barrel brewery is huge.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. I did for my own personal stash, I gave someone who's a very big Star Trek guy a can of it, or 2 cans, one to drink and one for him to keep for his Star Trek shrine, and apparently this guy goes every year and meets the actual actor. He's taking the can to get signed next year. So I'm curious what that's going to bring.
Assuming there's a festival, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that gets us anything from CBS.
So does the CBS go after breweries though? I mean, there were some properties that just go after any brewery that uses their stuff, but then there's companies like Nintendo,
like NFL,
it's Hysteria. Nintendo doesn't care. And I don't know if they've even if they've made an official statement or but no one has ever received, at least to my knowledge, a cease and desist for any kind of Nintendo stuff. And I'm guessing that's because they have no plans ever to make a beer. They're going to stick to video games. And
how many Nintendo beers have we done, Jesse? Has it been 3 or 2? We had Wind Waker and another Castle. Did we have any others?
I don't think so. I mean, I brewed one today.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Another Zelda-themed beer. But
well, my face has been on 2 Nintendo ones so far, and Saints Row hasn't received anything.
Hey, fair enough.
Although it is, I mean, those ones are completely original artwork, obviously greatly inspired by Nintendo characters, but the artist draws those characters as Tony and I. So it would be one of those things that would be really...
Yeah, it would be a loser in court for them, probably.
Well, yeah, but they got a lot of money, so you really...
They do have a lot of money. They could make losing feel a lot more like winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who does the art for your cans?
Dave.
I do.
Awesome. Good job, Dave.
Yeah, I've been. Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been doing graphic design since 1999. Sometimes professionally, sometimes just for fun. And really, it's kind of been one of the things that's kept me sane in 2020 is doing the can art. Because it's something I actually get to enjoy doing. I get to be creative in the process. And since I can't be there brewing the way I would like to be, at least I get a creative outlet again I like to think of it as I get to put a sexy dress on Jesse's beers. So, I have fun with it. Participation trophy is not a great example because this is one of the 3 that I've made that's intentionally ugly. So both participation trophies and Brute Stripe are hideous, but they're hideous on purpose. So Cowabunga Dude is one I'm a little happier with.
A little more pride in that one. And there goes Dave frozen again.
Oh,
you froze again.
I'm sorry.
Westminster Wi-Fi.
I try not to freeze, but I just told 1623 Zach that Carroll County is clearly Silicon Valley East.
I think you're wrong.
I'm 100% wrong. My wife is playing Guild Wars or Overwatch, and now my Wi-Fi hates me. So
yep, it's her fault then.
Well, I would never say that, but you said it. So,
so what else? Do you have anything else special planned for your anniversary extravaganza?
I mean, we got 2 really good food trucks coming out. We have live music. We have some new swag coming out. Merchandise, with glassware, hoodies, hats, face mask.
Ooh.
And
everyone's buying those.
Yeah.
Except for me. I'm wearing bandanas.
Rebel.
Well, you'll be wearing our logo on your face now.
I will be. But yes, I mean, we're just hoping to have a good time. That we're sending some canopies up outside for some of the the faithful, I guess you could say. And then, we're just going to hang out all day long and, hopefully just have a good time and hopefully meet some new people. And, we have some other friends from other breweries coming out to hang out and other folk in the industry. So, we're just really looking forward to, because it's one of those things where, one brewery's success is another's as well. And so, we're looking to hang out with people that supported us along the way and some people we like to think that we've supported. So, it's just going to be a fun day.
Yeah, and it's normally Maryland Microbrew Festival this Saturday, and unfortunately that's canceled, and that's Carroll County's kind of big beer thing of the year, and we're doing something. It's not going to be as big, but it's an option for people that are missing out on that event.
I had the Facebook memory pop up about it being Carroll County Beer Week.
That's right. You were there last week.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, we did that. We did that together at Maggie's. That's right.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I think that was where you and I met in the flesh for the first time.
Yep. And I can't remember what I ate at Maggie's, but it was really, really good.
Well, I remember you and George being like, "Hey, man, why didn't you greet me? Why didn't you come out for dinner?" And I was like, "Oh, because you talked to Jesse, and Jesse didn't tell me I was invited to dinner." And then I proceeded to talk about Jesse and some of my communication problems.
Yeah, you were absolutely invited. Well, at least Jesse was invited, and then he just didn't pass that invite along to you when he
did not
decided to stand us up.
Can you do this? I'm really tired.
Yeah. It's like, hey, Dave, you're not the introvert of the two of us. You go do this, is how I remember it.
and I'm not going to let you know that there was dinner involved.
Nope. Why let me have a meal?
I like to, stab Dave in the back whenever I can.
I mean, that's usually
joy.
That's a good policy to have in any partnership.
I mean, really, you get so few pleasures in life once you open a business. Like making your partner suffer is one of the most beautiful ones you get.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, how is your side hustle going?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
you're the only one who has one. Brewery Fire is my side hustle.
It's food's definitely a different animal than beer. It's a little easier, but burning the candle at both ends is burning the candle on my marriage in some ways. So it's a balancing game, but it's it's successful enough that we're already looking into going from a little hot dog cart to a food truck.
Oh, nice.
So that's exciting, but just like it seems the problem with life is you either have time or money. I don't have any right now, but yeah, it's going great. That's nice,
Why don't you tell? I guess we should explain what it actually is, since all I did was vaguely mention it.
Okay. Yeah. So a friend of mine and myself, we started a hot dog cart called Frankenstein, and we're basically just making hot dogs and doing like beer inspired, mustard, ketchups, and just fried food. Like we'd start doing fried donuts and Oreos, and just basic comfort carnival food that
things you want to eat while you're drinking beer.
Yeah. So we've gone to a few other places, and it's just a fun time.
Do you go elsewhere, or is it always at Brewery Fire?
No, we have our Carroll County license, so anywhere in Carroll County we can go. We haven't made it to 1623 yet, but
I did tell them to book you this Saturday so that you couldn't be at the anniversary. By the way,
there goes that backstab.
Ask Carrie. I did do that.
But yeah, so it's for us we're now starting because one of our staff has taken the reins, but it was really hard for a while to try to get food trucks from like Frederick and other places because they have all these really successful breweries, and why would they want to travel? And our one staff member, she's kind of like 5 foot tall and probably the scariest person you ever meet. And so she's pretty much just intimidated everybody to come out, and it's been great because we're getting these food trucks out here that nobody in our community has had before. And so they're excited because it's brand new food. And then, these other food trucks see that they can be successful in, other parts of the state. So it's just another one of those symbiotic things that works out really well when you get the right person in charge.
So you want to run down real quick the details for this weekend if anyone wants to come out and celebrate with you?
Yeah, I'm sure Dave does.
Hint, Dave.
Thanks, Jesse.
Try not.
I also
to
like what you said. Once you get the right person in charge of food
Yeah.
trucks, which was basically saying Dave sucked at booking food trucks, which is true.
Well, you're really good at labels and being real handsome and stuff.
No, it is a full-time job being this handsome. It's true. So we are launching pre-orders for 4-packs on Friday. So if people just want to get stuff to go, we are setting a quantity aside. I don't know what that number is yet. We have to do inventory, but we are setting a number aside for pre-orders that you can pick up on Saturday. We're opening at 11. We will have Rolling Smoke from opening till 3, doing barbecue and smoked foods and whatever. Their stuff's amazing. I don't know if they're on the Frederick circuit or not, but they're really good. From 1 to 4, we'll have live music from Dan Gallagher of Sykesville, kind of acoustic rock, folk kind of stuff. We will have It's All Good, who was actually the food at our opening, and we brought them back for our anniversary. Great friends of ours, and they'll be there from 3 to close, or I don't know if they're going to stay all the way to close. 3 till they run out of food, which will be 8 or 9, something like that. And yeah, we'll have 5 brand new beers in cans and on tap, and a couple of exclusive beers on tap only. 25 to 30 seats inside, I forget off the top of my head, and about 50 outside, plus the bring your own seating areas. I believe the gourmet popcorn folks next to us, whose name I'm forgetting, are going to set up a tent as well.
Caramel Kettle.
I think it is Caramel Kettle. I think you're right. So yeah, lots of options coming out. Spend your Saturday with us. And yeah, we look forward to it.
I like the weekly, and I haven't actually taken close enough notice to see if it's like a regularly scheduled thing. But the Facebook Live little chats the two of you guys do.
Gosh. We are the worst.
But
we just make fun of ourselves constantly when we're done.
I like stuff like that though, because it just gives your brewery a personality. And
that's one of the things. Sorry, what was that, Jesse?
I said we have lots of personality.
We do have lots of that.
But I think people like that. People like to know who is making the beer that they drink. So it's having that regular little look into your guys' lives or what's going on is a nice little thing that you do.
Cool. Well, thanks. I'm glad people like it because we feel freaking dumb when we're done.
Do you have anything else coming up you're excited about, or anything to cover before we wrap up?
Yeah, I've got one more plug. I just got to look at a date. Hold on.
Oh, he's doing that. We do have a few collaborations coming up, I think.
Nice.
And maybe if I say them on air, they'll be guilt people to happen. But we've been talking to Matt over at Jugbridge a bunch lately. So he's coming out Thursday, and we're going to talk to him about some stuff because I think he makes really great beer. Yeah, and I think, our styles would mesh very well. We have a collab coming up in the next few months with George over at Pub Dog. I was texting with Steven tonight from Homemade, and he's going to be coming out the next week or two for another collab.
That's another brewery I'm excited for when they open.
Yeah, I mean, Steve and Lucas. Yeah, they're going to take over the state, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we got a few other in the back burner. We're just, everybody wants to collab, which is awesome, but nobody has time, and so we're always hesitant to say who we're going to be working with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Like there's some places that like it's in the works for a year before schedules aligned to actually make it happen.
But other than that, I mean, we've just got beers coming out, and that's all I know.
I haven't talked about.
Sorry.
I haven't talked about it yet, so maybe I'll do a shameless plug. I have for Old Mother's anniversary next year. I mean, not next year, next month. We have a collaboration beer coming out.
Sweet.
Because we celebrate our anniversaries at the same time. Because they were Old Mother was they were our very first guest. So we teamed up to make a beer this year to release for their anniversary.
That's awesome. Are you going to give us any hints for style or?
So, funny enough, this was a collaboration that I was only allowed to be involved with the naming and the design of the can, because Keith told me I wasn't allowed to know what the style was or what it was going to be, that I would have to be surprised.
Okay.
Unfortunately for him, he did not share that information with Nick, the other owner, or the brewer. I foolishly said something about that to Nick, so Nick wouldn't tell me. So I played stupid whenever I was talking to Jake, and he told me what it was. But I don't know if Keith has some weird reason why he doesn't want it. So I'll let people wait until it comes out. It's a very stereotypical beer for me to want to have made. So I figured it was either going to either extreme, a beer that I would love or something I would absolutely hate. And if he would have went the absolutely hate route, I would have found that funny. I just would have talked about how awful it was. But it did end up being on the spectrum of something that I will love.
Okay.
Nice.
So you guys will have to come out for Old Mother's anniversary. I don't know if they're having any kind of event for it or not, or if they're just doing a beer release.
Either way, we love our friends at Old Mother. So I did have one more thing to plug if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You could plug as many things as you want.
I don't know how many of your viewers / listeners attend the Renaissance Festival, but my wife was super bummed that it's not happening this year. So she was like, hey, why don't you guys just do like a Renaissance Day at the brewery? So Saturday, October 17th is going to be Renaissance Day at Brewery Fire. We're going to get some vendors, some entertainers. There's talk of a pumpkin catapult.
Nice.
And discounts for people who show up in costume. So tell your friends.
Aren't there are mobile axe throwing places, aren't there? Does anyone take that on the road?
I will Google that.
I feel like there is. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Anything else you want to talk about? Are you good? We done?
I think we're good, man. As always, we appreciate you having us on. It's always a fun time hanging out, even if it's virtual. And
as we were saying beforehand, like there's been some benefits to doing this virtually, but like I don't know, I like being around people. I like talking in person. So while it's still like I feel like I got to hang out with you two, it's not nearly as fun as when we're sitting around in a room sharing the same beers together. So I thank you guys for coming on virtually. We'll definitely have to, once I can have people back into the studio again, we can reconvene and talk about all the amazing things that you guys have been up to in the meantime. And this should come out it'll probably today is either Wednesday or Thursday, so you have everyone listening should have plenty of notice to go out and visit Brewery Fire and celebrate their first anniversary of surviving the year from hell. So I feel like anniversary parties for breweries like have a special meaning after making it through this year. It's not just it's like a survival celebration.
Yep, 100%.
So I want to cheers to you guys.
Cheers to you, Chris.
I love what you guys are doing. If you were in Frederick, I'd be at your brewery way more often. But
we forgive you.
My laziness is legendary. So
I wouldn't leave Frederick if I was there. We got a lot of good beer out there.
Yeah, I think if we lived in Frederick, we wouldn't have opened. We would have just been like, "Yeah, let's go to Old Mother." And
we don't need to make our own. I'll just go over there.
There's plenty of breweries.
So I'm really happy for all the success you guys have had with against all odds with the current environment, and congratulations on making a year, and here's to many more.
Many more.
And thank you everyone for watching and listening. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks. I'll see us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Uncapped is brought to you with support from McClintock Distilling, Maryland's first and only organic certified distillery. They are well known for their award-winning gin and are rapidly growing a name for themselves for their Matchstick Bourbon and Bootjack Rye Whiskey that have both won double gold at international spirits competitions. You can visit them in historic downtown Frederick along Carroll Creek for tours and tastings. Go to McClintockdistilling.com for more information.